This is a young Congressman, Don Rumsfeld, in 1967, advocating the United States move away from conscription and toward a volunteer army of better paid professionals.
It seems to me that there's no excuse for this country not moving towards something more closely approximating a volunteer military. A compulsory system of manpower recruitment, I think, is tolerable only when there's clear and demonstrated need.
Rumsfeld was first elected to serve Illinois' 13th District in 1962. He'd be re-elected in 64, 66, and 68. In 1969, he would move into the Nixon administration and later become President Ford's Chief of Staff in 1974 and Secretary of Defense in 1975. We briefed this because it was Congressman Donald Rumsfeld who, on 29 July 1968, was asked to introduce ufologist J Allen Hynek to a House Committee hearing or symposium on unidentified flying objects. It would have sounded something like this.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is a pleasure to welcome all the members of this distinguished panel. Particularly to welcome Dr. Allen Hynek, who is a son of Illinois and presently serves in the Department of Astronomy and director of Lindheimer Astronomical Research Center. Dr. Hynek is a member of a number of scientific societies and has served in the government service as well as in the academic community. As his congressman, I am delighted he has been invited to appear on this panel, and we certainly look forward to his comments. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Separate videos on this channel cover the statements Dr. Hynek delivered to the committee that were later used to expose the November 1968 Condon Report. It didn't matter much because the Air Force closed Project Blue Book a year later. Here is respected astronomer and ufologist Jacques Vallée. He's speaking in the 1970s about the fact that UFOs are not exclusively an American nutter phenomenon, but have been reported all over the world. Sometime in early 2009, I had the opportunity to read this 13 April 1975 entry in his journal. Vallée's report of Hynek's dramatic experience with Rumsfeld was confirmed by both Stanton Friedman and Bud Hopkins. From September 1974 through April of 1975, Don Rumsfeld would have been Gerald Ford's Chief of Staff, but not yet Secretary of Defense. If Nixon was still president when Hynek went to see him, it would have been prior to 9 August 1974. The idea of Don Rumsfeld intimidating a dedicated scientist with an emphatic statement that he had no need to know will seem arrogant to many. If you look, you will find evidence that UAP redoubled efforts to expose their existence to the general public following this censorship from appointed leaders. Specifically, it was November 1974 when the most dramatic presentation began with Vancouver's Dorothy Izot.
What I saw in the sky was just round objects of light, round balls of light. But what was on the film, you see the balls of light, but after a couple of frames, there will be this enormous blast of light. And then when I get it developed, I'll find all these strange one-frame shots on it.
Soon after, J. Allen Hynek was sufficiently convinced of her authenticity to place his arm around her for this photograph.